Okay, so what you see here right now is I would say a gathering room, a playroom in this building. Now, this building is a multi-dwelling building, and we are in the basement of the place. So what happens is that through the years, it has been some filtration of water through the basement wall. So these are the basement walls. You can see they're cinder block, but you don't see that much of damage as far as like water penetrating through the wall, but more from the bottom. Here, if you notice, we had some wallpaper like the one that you saw a moment ago. And behind the wallpaper, because we had a lot of moisture, we have a lot of moisture in this room, mold was proliferating. So when you're working with all this, you want to make sure that obviously you take care of the mold. And I'm using this mold removal and disinfectant called Mold Armor. This one I got it in a home improvement store. And what I'm going to do is that we're going to cover it completely, just wet the entire thing with the materials already mixed. Obviously protect your use a mask when you work and protect your hands and protect your eyes. And we want to spray all these things. We want to let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to start wiping out until we make sure that that part is dead. Now, the situation with the wall is that the water is actually filtrating from underneath. So we have a concrete slab with a moisture barrier, and we have the wall that are needed. Now, here in this section, you can see that water was coming through on the bottom, and it was just being collected on the floor. So we're gonna take care of the expansion joint that is there. We're gonna replace that all expansion joint and go through it later on with a more synthetic one that will be like a rubberized and will help us to seal. But we're trying to find the lowest part in the basement, which is this one, and where the water was coming. So we're gonna do a perforation. We're gonna put a container, a pump, and a system that will pump the water out. So that is what we're trying to do right now. So make sure that you find those areas that are low or where the water is coming in. Now this is because sometimes you don't have the technical possibility of digging in the outside and doing a lot of waterproofing on the outside. So you are kind of just stuck with the working in the inside. So once everything is nice and clean, you want to make sure that all the mold is out, that all the little flaky areas are removed and all that. You want to make sure to waterproof the walls before you continue. So the waterproofing material that I have that we're going to use is this one called Dry Lock. So Dry Lock will be used to make sure that we waterproof this area, that a lot of moisture is not coming in. And that is why we are actually collecting water in another place, besides the dehumidifier that I'm going to put. So let's start by cleaning everything out, by finishing the digging that we're doing, the perforation there, and clean up. So let me show you in a moment how everything goes. So this is the bucket that we're going to use. We left 3 inches in the bottom without perforations. The rest we went ahead and perforated with a drill, 1/4 inch bit. The pump that we're going to use is this type of pump, so a submergible pump. And what will happen is that it will get turned on by the level of water when it comes inside. The reason that I left 3 inches over there is because this is it only needs on the bottom completely about like 1.5 inches from the floor to maintain circulating the pump. But once the water is gone, obviously it turns off so it doesn't burn. And because we have all those pipes, the water is going to resume inside. It's going to go all the way inside and gravel around, so it's going to help us to filter some of the sediments, and then it will be pumped out. So what you see here is called a check valve. This valve allows water to go one way but not the other. So we need to place it so whenever we pump water out, it doesn't come back in, right? So it has a particular position that you will let it go. It's suggested when you have especially high levels, when they if you want to pump 8 feet, 10 feet high, 4 feet high, so the water will not come back again. So you want to make sure that you handle that as well. So let's do that. We're going to place it inside the hole that we made, and we're going to put gravel around and start working with the piping so we can have this thing properly installed. After waiting for a few days to have those walls fully dry, now we're going to proceed in the application of the moisture barrier or paint, or the Dry Lock that you saw, the water resistant paint. So remember, this is gonna only help us to retain the water from like showing up on the inside. But for the outside, like we said, we have the other drainage thing that we made. This material in a section of about, I will say 30 feet, at I'll say 3.5 feet height. You're gonna need about 2 gallons of, about 2 gallons of it. So it will take a few coats. If you notice, the first coat is just barely getting to a port, so it's gonna take, 2 or a little bit more, just kind of touch ups around. Make sure that it dries really well. So we're gonna let it dry, and then we'll continue with the application of the material, the crack filler that we have, that I showed you a while ago. So that, once it's nice and dry, we're gonna clean it up a little bit more, use the vacuum, and then start applying the material so it helps us to maintain that area sealed. You see that I have two sections of buckets. What I did is that I cut the bottom and a section of the top, and using a heat gun, I actually molded that thing so it was able to go one inside the other a little bit. So one is upside down. If you notice, I didn't put holes in that one all the way up because that's where the slab is going to go. So I'm going to make some modifications, obviously, to put the pipe and stuff like that. But the idea is that I'm going to continue putting gravel all around this thing. I'm going to fill this with gravel and some kind of bigger chunks of rock. Prepare for the pouring of the rest of the slab by adding a piece of a moisture barrier. So it maintains the water under. That's our goal. And just let it work once we put the pump. Well, you saw in that video when the water was, I turned off the pump. Now, you can see that the water is removed. And the pump, the little float that is there, it actually, controls how much water, not how much water, but the power to the pump. So whenever the water is in a certain height, it just activates by itself. Now, is it very important that you put a little inclination towards the exit of the building in this case? So you want to maintain that pitch so the water doesn't come back again and just keeps the pump turning on. Another suggestion that I give you is that if you have a lot of humidity in one room, you can actually put the dehumidifier right next to the pump. And so it collects the water, and the water actually is dumped into the system, and eventually you don't need to replace or just kind of empty the container that normally is there for you to empty by yourself. So it's a really good suggestion. I hope this video can help you to understand how you can waterproof your own systems and things. It is raining a lot outside, and you can see there's a lot of saturation. And by purpose, I actually stopped the pump for a while, so you can actually see a lot of water coming in. You can actually see that it's a lot of water that comes out. There's no water that comes back in. If you need maybe like a check valve, if you are in a really low place, there's a check valve. If you feel like installing a check valve, this will be a nice device. The water will go one way, but it will not come down in another way. So that's it. With this, I'll leave you. I hope this will help you. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Ahí, más.